Welcome to Daily 5 for Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Just under a month ago, a company that some of you may have heard of called Anbernic, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, released the latest version of their vertical retro gaming system, which is called the RG40 XXV. So that would be, that would be what? Romeo Golf 40 X-Ray Victor, in case I'm mispronouncing or adding too much accent to any of those letters. Now, Anbernic is, if you have any presence or any knowledge of the retro gaming device scene where, you can buy these pre-made devices, they make a lot of these things. And I've bought quite a few of them in the past, certainly not anywhere near everything they make. That would just be ridiculous. But I have been looking for a really good, what I would call middle-of-the-road retro gaming device, because you can spend very, very little on these, or you can spend quite a bit. And the reality is, neither end of the spectrum really makes sense to me. I have a very specific slice of older games I like to play, and they're generally from the Nintendo era, and specifically from the Game Boy, or I guess it'd be the NES, through the Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 era. Anything after that, I don't really care as much about, and anything before that, I don't really enjoy playing, meaning the old Atari stuff. Certainly I can appreciate it for its historical and sentimental value, but I don't actually go and play those games. So really what I primarily like to play is Nintendo, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, and again, a little selection of things from the Genesis or the PlayStation 1. That's generally the stuff that I play, but it really is, honestly, if I had to pick the core systems, NES, Game Boy, and Super Nintendo. And so I have played around with different devices like these, and many of them worked, but quite a few of them required a lot of tweaking and tinkering. And even when you did that, they didn't necessarily work all the time. There were definitely some build quality issues on the earlier ones where they looked almost like somebody had made them in a garage. And so I had read about this one because I don't remember what version. The last Anbernic I had was a couple versions back. And it was fine, but it was also a horizontal, kind of a wider PSP style one. And honestly, I have discovered that for me, the perfect form factor is the vertical, is the Game Boy itself, that form factor. And so they announced this new version that had a nice, almost bezel-less top 4x3 screen with a very, very nice-looking Game Boy body to it. So I figured, okay, it was $70. It shipped really fast, unusually fast. I don't really know why, but I got it within a few days, which is unusual for something coming from China, but whatever, I'm not complaining. And I've been using it now for a while. I played around with the stock firmware it comes with. It's fine. It's perfectly serviceable. I ended up putting the newly KNULLI software, or firmware I should say, system onto it. I prefer that. There's a lot of different options. But what I found was that so far, it has hit this magic spot for me. And I'm going to go into more detail on the specifics on Friday. I can't do it in 5 minutes. But it was, I think for many people, if you like the vertical form factor, this might be a perfect, again, middle-of-the-road device. Yes, it's not as powerful as other ones out there. It's also not as inexpensive as other ones out there. But what I wanted was something that was fairly good in terms of its quality and build quality, which I think it is. It's a beautiful device. I have it in white. I hope they're going to make more versions. I would actually get a red one of these in a heartbeat, or a different translucent version if they made them. And they tend to make colorways, so I think that's probably coming. But for somebody who doesn't want to spend a lot of time, I've built Raspberry Pi retro boxes, I've done all that stuff, but if you want something that's pretty easy to use and reliable, I think it hits this really, really important middle area where somebody without a lot of deep technical knowledge or doesn't want to spend a lot of time tinkering, you could set this up in about 30 or so minutes, give it to somebody who had no knowledge of it, just show them how to operate the menus and the save states and a couple of very simple things, and then you'd never have to worry about it. And it functions and works really fluidly as long as you understand what systems it can play. And you, as the person buying it, do just, again, maybe 30 minutes worth of setup. And you don't necessarily even have to do that much. You use it out of the box, you'll be up and running in like 10 minutes, literally in that quick of a time. So, again, it's called the Anbernic RG40 XXV. I'm going to link to it, of course. And I would say if you've been looking for something that, again, isn't dirt cheap, but also isn't going to be a $400 or $500 device, this is worth looking at because I've been using it now for about 3 weeks, and I'm really, really happy with it. I'll have more details when I talk about it on Friday, but if you've been looking around, this might be the one. Take a look at it. Later.